I'm just about to invite Julia Unwin back to the lectern for her closing remarks, but somehow Louise Casey has sneaked in a minute early. Louise.
If it's okay with everybody, a number of people in the room, Julia, asked me ahead of today, and I wanted to myself just to say a couple of words about Julia, though this is her penultimate, I think, major conference, and she will be livid with me, so I'm going to make a run straight after this so that I can't get told off the umpteenth time in my career. I've worked for Julia for 25, 30 years, because you never stop working for Julia. I just wanted to say, those of you that have come across her in the last 10 years have probably been in awe of how she has, where she has taken the Joseph Rowntree Foundation and all she has done on behalf of people in poverty. Julia started out as a community development worker in places like inner city Southwark and Liverpool. She has an extraordinary track record both in working directly with human beings but also being an intellectual powerhouse in how she goes about making sure we can both structurally in terms of systems respond to them. She deserves the credit for the Rough Sleepers Initiative, for food labelling, for many, many other things, and obviously for the extraordinary report published by Joseph Rowntree today. What a moment to do it under this new government with the new Prime Minister. I don't know whether you planned all of that, Julia, or whether that just happened. I wouldn't put it past her, is all I will say. Obviously, she's an extraordinary intellectual and a highly sophisticated operator. But Julia, you are passionate, you are determined, you are a heartfelt campaigner, and more than anything, you have given the gift of your time and your support to countless people across the country. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do the jobs that we do, and some people out there wouldn't have got the help that they would get. So thank you on behalf of all of us.
Yes. You can see, ladies and gentlemen, you can see even in pink light, Julia is blushing.
Or fuming.
Louise, thank you.
Both.
And you're right, I won't forgive you. Thank
Over
you
to
for
Julia.
that. Thank you all. I want to thank all of you for coming along today. The question that we've been asked time and time again is, at this time when the labour market is going to change so dramatically, when we go into these complicated trade negotiations, when we face austerity, can we solve poverty? I think at this time, as we go into this very difficult territory, we can't afford not to. And what this strategy today says is this is the time when we need to take these actions. I'm delighted that the panel have been so supportive, so questioning, and have stretched what we want to do. Many of you in this room will be able to build on what we have done. Almost 30 endorsers of the strategy from across the spectrum have supported us, and they will be on the website, and you can see them over lunch. But this is now a project for all of us. Nick said it as well as anyone could. This is not a problem that belongs to government or governments. It doesn't belong to employers. It doesn't belong to Joseph Rowntree Foundation. This is an issue that faces this country at this time more than ever. And we have provided the research evidence. We've developed the policies. We have brought together an extraordinary array of people, many of whom are in this room today. But this has to be the start, not the end. This has to be the start of a new approach that says, yes, poverty is real in the UK. That 13 million figure is true. Yes, it causes immense harm, and we know that. But between us, we have the skills, the ability, and the drive to solve it. Joseph Rowntree Foundation will continue to work on this because we've worked on it for 100 years. We will work with people like Big Society Capital to do practical things that will really disrupt the current system, the system that traps people in poverty. But we can't do it without the active engagement of all of you and all of those who've been watching us on the live stream. We continue to work with this, but we'd ask you to work with us. Keep the conversation going. Follow #SolveUKPoverty. Visit our website, talk to us. Before we leave, however, I wanted to show you a message from the actor, director and campaigner Michael Sheen, who couldn't be here in person today, but has witnessed firsthand the impact of poverty in South Wales. This is his message to us.
Poverty in the UK today is real. And the greatest danger to our society is us allowing that to become acceptable, a necessary evil, just the way things are. There's nothing necessary about poverty. It's not just the way things are, or should ever have to be. Poverty is intolerable and entirely unacceptable. This country should be a place that, no matter where you live, you have the chance of a decent and secure life. But today, millions of people in the UK are held back because they're living in poverty. Now, don't be fooled that it looks like some Dickensian vision of Victorian waif-strewn streets and workhouses. Half of those in poverty today live in a home where someone works. Almost half either have a disability themselves or live in a household with someone who does. Poverty means not being able to heat your home, pay your rent, buy the essentials for your children, or having to choose which one of those you can afford to do this week. Waking up every day facing insecurity and uncertainty. It means constant stress, overwhelming people, affecting them emotionally, physically, depriving them of the chance to play a full part in society. It's shameful that in the 21st century, 13 million people in our country are struggling to make ends meet. What a terrible, terrible waste. Culturally, economically, what a waste of all that human potential. 13 million people shut out from what's possible. Our national life is a conversation, a dialogue. How much poorer is it if only certain people get to join in that conversation? If 13 million of those voices struggle to be heard? I see the dangers of poverty in a place like Port Talbot, my hometown, where my family still lives. I see it in the lives of people I grew up with, went to school with, played football with. I see it in my own family. The whole town faces an uncertain future, with the steelworks up for sale, with public services continuing to suffer, and many more cuts on the way. And in towns and villages across the South Wales valleys and beyond, decimated by deindustrialisation, many feel abandoned and forgotten, left behind. There has to be a vision to turn this around. We can't let this keep happening to our towns and cities. When a factory or even an entire industry starts to shut down, the responsibility of government and of society is to do everything it can to ensure that poverty does not take hold in that community. Fight for opportunities and prospects, something to work for and hope for. Because the reality is that almost anyone can experience poverty. It isn't about somebody over there. It's the family just a payday away from a loan shark. It's the mother who can't work because she's caring for a disabled child. It's the young person who can't afford next month's rent. A steelworker who loses their job. Sometimes all it takes is one unexpected turn in your life, the death of someone you love, an illness, a redundancy, a relationship breaking down, and suddenly you're in circumstances that are very difficult to escape. Work should be the route out, but too often low wages, combined with a high cost of housing and childcare, poor health, or a lack of education and skills present almost insurmountable barriers. We can and must do better if we're to prosper and thrive as a nation. We can solve poverty and have a more prosperous society with permanently lower levels of poverty. To do so, we will have to find more inclusive answers to the challenges a globalized world presents to us, and define our place within it. Industry has been part of the foundation of our national identity for generations. So it's time to ask, what do we want the foundation of our national identity to be now? What do we want for ourselves, our families, and our communities? It's said that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it's going to take a whole society working together to eradicate poverty. This goes beyond ideologies of left or right, beyond oversimplified theories of market forces or redistribution of wealth. We need long-term planning and courageous leadership from our governments and politicians, responsibility from our business leaders, cooperation within our communities. Every single one of us has a part to play. And I know there are hundreds of businesses, employers, communities, groups, and individuals who are already working to solve poverty in different ways. Think how powerful our efforts would be if they were combined. I support the Joseph Rowntree Foundation today because they have a bold vision for everyone in the UK to have a decent and secure life and a practical plan to solve poverty. They've been researching poverty and social issues for decades, and 4 years ago set themselves the task, working with many of you, of finding out how to solve UK poverty in a generation. As a result, we now have a comprehensive strategy that will boost incomes and reduce costs, improve education and skills, and strengthen families, communities, and our economy. The question JRF asked me, and the question I ask of you, is what can you do? What more can you do? In your business, your community, with your power to solve poverty in a generation? And finally, JRF asks that we do this together, that we work together to solve poverty. It can be done, but it takes vision, courage, and a plan. I wish the Joseph Rowntree Foundation well with the launch today, and I join you to solve poverty in the UK.
What a great rallying cry there to send us all off to lunch. I think Joseph Rowntree would have been rightly proud. He'd probably also been thinking, what's with the trendy jumper? But I think the spirit of, the message that's come through the Joseph Rowntree Foundation from its foundation down the years has been just very eloquently put there as we go. My thanks to Julia, to Tony, to their very hard-working teams who've put this together in this great document, to our panel for taking your questions on head-on, and of course to you for coming along and for your engagement. Thank you all very much. Enjoy lunch.